Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, or welcome in if you're new. I just want to pull one card this afternoon. There's a lot going on in the world as usual. The only difference is now that we're in the age of technology. We are privy to a whole lot of stuff that we weren't privy to before. Our worlds were, hey man, I want the small world of the 70s back. And if you weren't in that generation, oh man. And if you were, you can look back and you can see how soft it pretty much was. It was pretty soft for a couple of years, and we were all very lucky to have lived through that, considering what they went through before that and what we're going through now. Seems very kind of brutal. But boy, oh boy, this is a very pivotal time in human evolution, and holy crap! I mean, I'm trying desperately to remember that it's such an honor to be on this planet right now, and you know, as much as I want to stand up from the giant table and snatch that damn tablecloth. I remember that I can't do that trick, and a whole bunch of stuff would be broken if I did that. So, yeah, just take a deep breath. Go ahead and process those feelings and try to remember how blessed that we all are to be here and witness all of this change. And hopefully, most of us will live through it. And if we don't, well, we'll be in ascendant mode, and it won't really matter, right? So, I did bring along today the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck, and I just want to pull one card and let's get into it. Let's see what's going on. It's just a general energy check, but I just want you all to know that you are not alone when you think the world is crazy, because it is. It's quite crazy, and we kind of got to stick together on that. The thing is, we're charged with quite the balancing act right now, because it's really important that we dive deep and we get into our own story, and shore up our own systems. Make sure that when we get put in that discombobulated space, or that upheaval of emotionality, being witness to so much weird stuff, that we can bring ourselves back. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's not that you go there, it's how you handle it and how you get yourself back center, because to be on the outside of that rotating wheel right now is really tumultuous, and it's not good for us, and we can't get anywhere that way. It's really important, like one of my favorite tarot readers, Chris Reck over at Minnow Tarot, his analogy is like, you need to be the center of the wheel, that solid one in the middle, holding the wheel together while all the stuff spins around, and that's the whole thing right now for each individual. And while we're doing that personal work, we also kind of need to stick together. We kind of need to make sure that the people around us know that, aside from important personal boundaries, that you are available, that we are available, that we're still connected, even though it's ridiculous to think that we're super connected right now, because media makes this facade of bringing us together, but we're just privy to a bunch of information, but personally we're not actually reaching out and touching anybody right now. That's so let your people know that you're available. Let your people know that you hurt when you hurt, but that you're strong and that you're resilient, and if they need you, that you're there, that kind of thing. And I think if just it being in communication like that, really helps each little spirit hang on and have the ability to pull themselves back from the edge of the big ass table. Okay, look, let's just pull a card and let's see what we get. It's a super rainy day here. I'm not complaining, though. I certainly don't complain about the weather ever, especially being in the middle of the Pacific. So I love all of you, and I'm sending you a lot of warm wishes wherever you are, because I know there's a lot of crazy weather happening too. So, I mean, it's almost like we just cannot get stable no matter what we do. Oh, this is really nice. Okay. This is beautiful. This is an introspective card, and this is really important. This is like what Pluto is helping us do right now, is seeing the true you. What is that? 29? 29, which is 11, which is 2. Okay? We've all begun to embark on this journey, and we need to stay true to it. Find our balance. That's what 2 is all about. Finding our balance. And the best thing that you can do for yourself right now is be in touch with your authentic self and start being that. Have the courage to be that, especially with yourself. Call yourself on that stuff. My big deal is, don't make deals with yourself that you are not willing to keep, because if we don't keep deals that we make with ourselves, that whittles away at our own self-respect and our own sense of self-reliance. It's almost like we get to a point where we don't really trust ourselves. I'm not going to do that, but then you do it. And so undermining all of the pumping yourself up is that sentiment of like, I can let myself off. I can not stick to that deal. I can not keep my word. If you're going to not keep your word, don't do it with you. No. Under the deck, faith in the process. Number 5. It's big changes right now. And this is the thing. This is the pervasive theme of the day, is understand that this is a process. This is an evolution. We are in a linear time zone, so as much as we'd like to think that everything happens at the same time, and we like to grasp that concept, it might be better for all of us just to understand that we are in a press. We are in this. This is where we exist right now. And there is no jumping around quantum-wise, for the average human. We don't. Yeah, the average human goes from this to this to this to this. It's linear. Okay, so trust the process and the unfolding of not only your life, not only your own evolution, and not only your own emotional journey through each day, but also the process of the collective trying to sort itself out, because it's been dark for a long time, y'all. Okay, this is nothing new. This is just in the light right now. That's the big difference. The veil is lifted, whatever you call the veil, the this, the that. But yeah, energies have changed, and they have allowed a new flow of aspect, energetics. Everything is energy. And right now, the energy has very much changed. We are affected by all of it, and we kind of got to go with the flow, or we're going to get stuck in a rushing river and drown. Okay? So, seeing the true you, and I do want to look it up. A lot of times I don't look these up because I've already done a long reading, but today I'm just doing this card, so let's look at it. Sometimes we believe what others tell us we are. Sometimes. That's how we all grow up. We are who we are, and then we get fashioned by the opinions and the motivations of everybody around us. That's the way it is. That is the process of the human evolution. And it's so funny that it takes us a very long time to get to the point to realize that we've got layers on top of us, that some of it that we've put on ourselves, but a lot of it, most of it, I hate to tell you, is what everybody else has put on us. Our teachers, our friends, our family, our clergy, the advertisements, all of it. And then it becomes a process of peeling all that back and discovering who we are, and then dealing with that and coming to grips with the facets of our personality, of ourselves that we don't actually like, and then being humble, having that humility to say, I need to change this. Maybe it served us for a long time, but it's no longer serving me. I need to change this. And then it's the process, the unfolding of the application of the energy to make those changes and tweak ourselves so that we fit into the new vibe a little bit better. And that's what we're all going through. Okay. Sometimes we believe what others tell us we are, as though the self we see reflected back to us through their eyes is the truth, yet the accuracy of a reflection depends on the clarity of that which is doing the reflecting. And that's a pretty roundabout way, and very clear, but kind of roundabout way of just saying, remember, everybody else's perception of you is going through their own filters, their set of emotional circumstance. Their assessment of your life and who you are from the outside, which is not always, very rarely, a real clear and accurate picture, and somehow we get conditioned, especially if it's people in our lives that we really care about and we want to know their opinion and their opinion of us matters. That gets tricky for us. Okay, so right now the name of the game, and that has been a that has been a repeating message on this channel, something that I've been getting in every time I come on almost, is that it's so important to figure out who you are, and then be humble, be big enough in spirit to recognize what isn't working and not continually playing the victim by blaming everybody else for telling you what you are or putting you in a spot. Okay, we do it to ourselves. I'm sorry, but we do. We either accept it for ourselves or we create it for ourselves. I know you don't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it now, but here it goes. Even the moon reflects the sun in varying degrees of fullness and clarity. It's a filter. We can learn something from the nature of the sun from the moon, but not as much as through direct perception. Okay? So this oracle has come to you because you have been putting rather too much faith in the reflections that others have of you, to the point that you might not be honoring all that you are, all that you are becoming, because you believe too little of yourself, or you just don't know yourself. Okay? And there may be those around you that are able to reflect you more faithfully or clearly, and even help you see more of your own greatness and beauty, but really it's up to us. That's the thing. It's like it's hard to accept the things that are not working in our personalities that we have to go in and change, but we also seem to have a weird non-acceptance of our greatness, of our goodness, of the things that we are good at, things that we do well, and it's like, those days are over. We do not condone the shaming of our greatness. Okay, that's over. That's part of this veil being lifted, is we're now being basically supported in funding our own fundamental personalities, in giving ourselves the time of day, in not waiting around like little pets or victims to be patted on the head or be told that we're valuable individuals. When you're a valuable individual, I'll tell you all damn day, but you don't have to wait for me. Do it for yourself. There is no shame in that. Okay? And we spent way too many years accepting that BS. Okay. I won't read the whole thing because it's like 4 pages long. But look, they have these words of power at the end of each one, and this one says, I now break any contract that I've ever made with another, consciously or unconsciously, that has given them power over me, power over my sense of self, the authority to approve or reject me or anything about me, including my voice, my body, my creativity, spirituality, and my way of living. Okay, now's the time. Figure out who the real you is, and if there are misperceptions being reflected to you by the people you love, instead of stammering and trying to defend yourself, stand up in who you are, be who you are. And sometimes you have to take it a little bit. You have to take it on the chin a little bit because people aren't ready to accept your version of you. Is that absurd or what? That's when you really want to pull that damn tablecloth. But you don't have to. What you got to do is really step inside who you are, fix what you don't like, accept and fix what you don't like, and then proceed with some valor and some dignity and some, real clarity about who you are, how you're going to be. And if they don't like it, well, they're not meant to be there. If someone else is reflecting to you a version of you that you don't like, then by all means, absolutely be your kind self. Or be yourself with kindness. But stand in your strength. Stand in your truth. And you know what? Some people are going to fall away. Because some people are hell-bent on telling you who you are. And when you stand up in that strength, that's intimidating for some people. And they may fall out of your life. Let that happen. Let it happen. That's another spirit message that's been coming in hot and heavy for the last at least week, is people are going to fly right now. They're going to fly out of your world, especially if you are grabbing hold of your own energetics and starting to really become sovereign in yourself. And if you're doing that, praise be, because that is the key to everything right now. Okay? So that was really sweet. This is Alana Fairchild is the curator of this deck. And y'all, if you ever want to shoot, the artwork is insane. And I think it is Autumn Sky is her name. The artwork is just insane. Look at this one. And what did we pull? Trust yourself. Okay. 4, trust yourself. Stability, foundation. It's a Thursday number. It's ruled by Jupiter. That's lucky. That's expansive. So I'm going to send you out with that message. Trust yourself. Okay. Once you figure out who you are, trust in that. Because wherever you are in your life, that's exactly where you're supposed to be. So own it right now so that you can move forward with some confidence and you can call. I call it the culling and the calling. Once you cull through your world and people start to fall away, then you energetically call in those energies and those reflectors that are going to be more suited to your vibration, and it's a whole lot less of a struggle, and right now is the time to do it, because we actually sort of didn't have the opportunity or the set of energetics to pull it off before. I mean, we really didn't, but right now there's so much available to us to really own ourselves, stand up in ourselves, which comes at a very good time. Source is amazing, but it couldn't be a better time with AI moving in and the humans kind of being replaced. Couldn't be a better time right now for us to really grab hold of our own self, our own minds. Okay, and that's the name of the game today. Okay, y'all, Kai says bye. She's a squealer. Kai says bye. Bye-bye. We love you. We love you, and I will see you soon.